just ask some questions because you know some stuff. He's already filming.
What?
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jet. This is my 2003 Mazda Miata. Had it like 4 years, been building it. Started off to do STR autocross, which is just full bolt-ons for Miatas basically. And it's evolved into a pretty seriously track prep car. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting on the outside, all the body is stock, nothing too crazy. I have this very cheap eBay aftermarket knockoff DS style front lip. Just trying to get the front of the car as low to the ground as possible. Keep it clean. And then on the back, we have this R Theory V1 diffuser, which is real. It is CFD tested. Probably doesn't do much on this car, but it looks really nice. Keeps the car clean, keeps it from getting super floaty, around 80, 90 miles an hour on track, which Miatas do have a big problem with. Other than that, it's all original. Soft top's original. All the body panels are original.
And these are not your track wheels and tires, right?
Yeah, so these are my super shit OEM wheels that have been painted and plastic dipped.
Hell yeah.
Like 5-10 times and they look terrible, but yeah, like Zach said, I have a separate set of wheels and tires that I put on to go to the racetrack. Those look nice, those fit proper. These have super terrible wheel gaps because I don't care about them. They're just so I can still drive the car on the street. Still have a decent tire on it. We'll get more into the tires that I run on this car when we talk about the suspension, but gets the job done, and it was never built to be a show car, so it doesn't matter too much to me.
What you got going on here?
Yeah, gets a little more businessy in here. I'll come around.
Got some fancy bars here.
The car is rocking. Honestly, the first mod to go into this car was the hard dog roll bar because my mom said if I was going to get a convertible, I needed to have one. So it's a 4-point double diagonal roll bar. It's bolted into these hard dog door bars. So it stiffens up the chassis quite a bit. Basically acts as a 6-point half cage too. So huge deal for rigidity on Miatas because convertibles don't have a connecting A and B or C pillar. So huge advantage there and just keeps me safe, makes me feel better. Other big obvious one is the Sparco Sprint race seat. That's on Sparco's lowest mounts. That's bolted right to the floor. It doesn't adjust, it's fitted only for me. And it's the only way that my 6-foot, 200-pound ass can fit in this little tiny car.
Yeah, there's a good shot of your Sparco seat right there.
There you go.
This is what I need in the Integra to make it lower.
Yeah, you need to gut some foam out of where your big chunky ass goes, Zach. So then, of course, to match this beautiful seat, I have this beautiful race steering wheel. It's a Sparco L777 race wheel with their street quick disconnect. I bought that probably just to be a hot boy like 3 years ago, and now it's the only way I can get in and out of the car.
Yeah, with that seat and the roll bar right here.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a squeeze, huh?
It's pretty hard to get in and out unless you're pretty tiny. Zach could probably do it no problem. Probably the most badass thing in the car, and everybody agrees, is the Irp Race Shifter. That thing's been installed this year, and it's a 60% reduction on gear throws. So it like literally makes it shift. I mean, there's an inch between shifts. I don't know if you can shift it right now, Zach, if you can reach it. It's like the most quality crisp shifter I've ever felt, and it really makes the thing feel like a race car.
Can't move it from here.
All right, well, there you go.
I don't have the finger strength. We'll throw a track video in real quick.
Yeah,
you shifting on the track.
Yeah, you've seen the track videos of this thing, you'll see what it looks like. It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty crazy. That's the ejecto cuz button.
Yeah, the ejecto cedo cuz button.
Yeah, you don't want to hit that while you're on the track.
Yeah, if you want to know what that does, you'll have to kill me.
What the?
Other than that, it's fully gutted. There's no carpeting.
I almost just fell over. That's why the camera got shaky.
I was nice. You look good though. You look graceful doing it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's fully gutted to the interior. There's no carpeting. There's no sound insulation. It is still full dashboard, full heat, AC, and stereo because
it's luxury.
Who doesn't want a race car with AC?
Right.
And I think that about does it for inside the car.
And you've done some carpet and floor mat modifications, but who hasn't, right?
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
I had no carpeting in this thing when I took all the carpet and insulation out. And I found out that there's a ton of that cavity wax, like body filler stuff. And I think on our second track day, I actually put a hole through the floor with my foot breaking because it was just a big piece filled with body cavity wax.
You punched it out.
I punched it out, breaking so hard. That's full commitment. So I cut out little pieces of the carpet to put in there just because it made life easier. And, you know, it's not like 4 pounds actually matters to this car. I'm not professional anyway. Yeah, that's the interior. That's the office.
Soft top's looking pretty good after all these years.
Yeah, a little tear here and there. We won't talk about it. Don't look too close.
We'll look at it from far away.
Yeah, it's a nice 10-foot car.
So what you got going? Power mods, engine mods.
Yeah, so
or engine bay mods. Let's say.
Yeah, there's some sauce all around under the hood. Like I said, built the car to compete in STR Autocross, so there's not many engine mods allowed. On top of the fact that if anybody knows anything about Miatas, BP motors don't make any power without turboing them, and then most of the time they just break. So it's
not reliable like a Honda.
Yeah, exactly. Most people will K-swap these things, V6 swap them if they want serious power out of them, which hopefully maybe is the plan eventually. But for now, completely stock block.
With the new head?
Yeah, it had head issues, had to replace the head, so it does have ARP head studs, which, you know, I'm sure adds 100 horsepower.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Stock intake, K&N drop-in filter, Flying Miata's carbon fiber cowl air duct. It's a pretty badass piece. Then it's Racing Beats headers, which are covered by this Track Dog Racing heat blanket.
What? Come on, dude. You lost the aesthetic horsepower.
I know. I would much rather melt my brake lines and look nice than have this on, but
yeah,
it'd be what it be. Those feed into a stock cat, because this thing is still carb legal, thank you California, and that feeds into a MagnaFlow catback. So it's kind of a full exhaust, but the cat in the middle probably ruins it all.
Speaking of MagnaFlow catback, fa-boom,
Fa-boom.
fa-boom. Oh, it's upside down. I'll flip that around.
The whole video.
Sorry. What the? Oh.
It's got a trick Flying Miata timing wheel on it, so you can bump up the base timing by a couple degrees. And then MagnaCore plug wires and NGK spark plugs, because it's just something it's nice to not worry about. But other than that, the motor is completely untouched.
Because NGK over everything.
Because NGK over everything, except for MagnaCore. The world's most expensive plug wires.
The world's thickest.
The world's thickest boys.
With 2 C's.
And then, very simply, just to keep it all cool, because the car does see a lot of track use, is just a drop-in OEM fit Koyo Rad. There's Zach almost falling over for the second time this
video. It was
video.
a cool shot, but I kicked the shit out of this.
Yeah, and as you said, there's a little bit more than engine mods in here. These cars do come with a factory shock tower brace, but Flying Miata makes one that's stiffer and is lighter. And then, as far as Spicy Boy stuff over here, bolted into that is Flying Miata. As you know, pretty much everything on this car is Flying Miata. I love these guys. Is their master cylinder brace. That's for when you're super hard braking on the track. Your firewall that holds all your braking system together will actually flex and bow out. And because Japanese cars are made of very thin, cheap metal, it happens a lot.
Point to the firewall one more time for me.
So this is the firewall. This whole wall back here between the engine and the cabin is the firewall.
So when you brake really hard, that will flex a little bit.
Exactly.
Right?
If when you're pushing the brakes, you're flexing the firewall instead of going into the braking system, you're losing braking performance and you're losing braking consistency, the consistency of the feel of the pedal.
Right.
So
when you brake, it'll just move your master cylinder and everything.
Exactly. Instead of putting the braking from your foot into the wheels, it's just putting it into moving the firewall. So
this brace helps with that.
Exactly. This car doesn't have ABS, so that's something that's really crucial, is to have consistent braking. So that's a cheap little trick to help fix that.
I always thought that was a cool mod that probably isn't a popular thing that you hear about a lot, but probably really helpful on the track for a car like this.
Some people will throw them on just because they think it looks cool, and they're like, oh, it'll help with my braking, when the reality is it's only really going to help when you're at the max limit of your brakes, because the average amount you push on the street is not going to flex the firewall enough for you to notice that.
Right, but when you're pushing it.
with a car with no ABS, it's crucial. It's super, super nice to have.
Yeah.
And then next to that is a Willwood brake proportioning valve. So I can actually adjust the pressure that goes to the rear brakes on this car, so I can control my brake bias, which is just one of the many ways on this car you can kind of control little bits of the handling balance.
You have Willwood front and rear calipers with that?
Yeah, it's a full, again, Flying Miata Willwood brake kit that included that, stainless steel lines, new calipers, and then pads.
I just want to note that you've done this correctly, where you upgraded brakes and tires and wheels and suspension before putting a K-swap and putting 500 horsepower in this car. As you made it stop and handle correctly.
Yeah, with this thing's tires and brakes and suspension, it could probably handle another 100 or 200 horsepower without any mods to make it, to make it safer. It can probably handle it now.
That's the right way to do it. It's not how a lot of us do it, but
yeah,
that's a good idea.
I get a lot of joy out of the fact that this keeps the car relatively reliable. You break suspension parts very rarely, and when you do, they're cheap. You blow your motor, it's a lot more work, it's a lot more expensive.
It's better than blowing a Josh.
And also there's some satisfaction about knowing your car makes like 120 wheel horsepower maybe, and you can still pass people in Porsches on the track when they don't know what they're doing. So
it's true.
Yeah.
Satisfying.
Yes. There's not a lot to look at on the outside. I think we might need to
hop under it,
pull one of these factory wheels off, show you guys the racy parts. You want to see my race parts? We go. This is that beautiful, disgusting factory wheel that I plasti dipped. And this is the street and stock tire size for a 2003 Miata. It's a 205/45 by 16. I run a 340 treadwear on the street, ultra high performance summer tire. It varies every couple of years what I decide to replace it with. Right now I'm rocking these, what are these? Firestone Firehawk Indy 500s. They're a pretty dope tire. I like them on the street. Anybody trying to get into tracking that doesn't want to pay for a second set of tires, this is a pretty good option because you can still put miles on that. But when it gets serious, I run, this is my race tire.
That's a big boy next to that.
It's a little tiny bit bigger. It's a 15-inch wheel, 8 inches wide, versus this is a 16-inch wheel, 6.5 inches wide. 205, 225, and this is a 200 treadwear. It's basically a street legal semi-slick. It's basically what everybody runs that likes to drive their car to the track because they're relatively affordable. You can get 5 or 6, maybe even 10 for some cars track days out of them versus the Hoosier slicks and stuff like that you get 1 or 2 track days out of them and they're kind of shot. These are incredible, stupid amount of grip for such a small light car. The wheel is also lighter, so the whole package is I think 3 pounds lighter than that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but makes a big difference.
Well, that's 3 pounds per corner, right?
Yeah, and that's rotating mass, which is a lot more important than solid mass that's in the car. The lighter you can make the stuff that your suspension controls, the better your car handles. Pro tip. Pro tip. Pro tip. Pro tip. Pro tip. Pro tip. Ah! Alright.
Also, more importantly, these wheels look way cooler.
Yeah. Cut to a shot of fitment of this car. Much nicer. Alright. And it wants to look at me.
You look seasoned.
Seasoned? Talking like Italian seasoning?
You look like you have some salt and pepper on you.
I want to get too spicy now. This is brakes. Can you believe it? To all of our faithful viewers out there, you can see Zach right now. Probably unsubscribe right now.
Spicy.
Spicy.
Or they would subscribe.
Alright, well, this is brakes and suspension. This is where all the money went on this car. So what Zach was saying, we got Willwood Powerlight 4-piston calipers front and back.
You gotta clean those puppies up.
Dude, it's just heat fade. They don't get any brighter than this anymore.
Yeah, I've heard excuses before.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's talk about your car.
My Willwoods look way better than that.
It's because they've never been used.
It's because they've never been used.
Because they've never been used.
I don't want to hear it.
Alright. I've put stop tech slotted rotors on the front. The OEM rotors couldn't really handle the heat these things create. On the back it's fine, they're still OEM. I think they're still the original rotors on the front, or on the back actually. But then for the suspension, The arms and the knuckle are stock, and that's pretty much it. It's all energy suspension, polyurethane bushings. There's no rubber in the suspension anymore. This is actually a Mazda factory part, but it's an R package tie rod, so it helps with bump steer on a lowered car like this one is. That didn't come on the car. It's Flying Miata's large adjustable sway bars front and back.
Dude, that thing's huge.
It's beefy
That's
for this
thick.
little baby car. They're bolted into poly mounts that are on Flying Miata's billet sway bar mounts. Probably unnecessary, but they look nice. I got Moog heavy duty regreasable sway bar end links because the factory ones were not quite cutting it. And then a beautiful budget piece is Flying Miata's VMAX Extreme track pack coilovers. So they're pretty budget. You can buy these for like less than $1,000. They're single adjustable, rebound and compression fixed. The adjuster's down there, which is super annoying, but they do a good job. You have to rock them pretty much at full stiff to handle the spring rates. They're 9K spring rates in front, 6K spring rates in the back, which on a Miata is pretty brutally stiff, but it gets the job done on the track. Oh, also now that you're up here, you can see that it's got a full flat front under tray on this car. Again, helps with the aerodynamics, keeps the car a little bit more planted on the ground at higher speeds.
Is that aluminum?
Yeah, it's aluminum, and it replaces the factory one. It keeps a lot of air from escaping out of the engine bay down, and it keeps a lot of air coming under the car from going up into there. Just keeps the car more planted. Actually was super surprised how much it improved the car's steadiness at like 80 miles an hour plus. So yeah, super beneficial to upgrade. That's pretty much it for the suspension, but it is a beast on track. You guys will see if you check out some more videos of it. I'm not the fastest driver, it's not the fastest car, but it is a super awesome car, super fun to drive. Maybe one day Zach's car will even be half as fast as it. Yeah, so that's it. That's my 2003 track prep Miata. If you want to see more of this bad boy, check out our channel, check out our racing videos. There'll be plenty more to come. Peace.